Hello, and thanks for joining us today on Don't Let Grants Stress You Out. On this channel, you have heard us talk a lot about pre-planning for grant applications, and usually we're talking about that in the context of a government grant. We know that something big is going to open, it's formally forecasted, or we think based on the budget it will open. But what about pre-planning in foundation grants? Is it possible? Yes, it can be. So what does it look like with foundation grants? Well, if you have a funder that you're aware of that either you want to receive funding from or you have received funding from in the past and you're aware of generally what their timing looks like, you could apply the principles of pre-planning that we talk about in government grants. You could apply that to the foundation space as well. So let's look at one specific foundation. We're going to use the Mother Cabrini Health Foundation as an example. That's a foundation that's focused on organizations based in New York State. You probably have an organization like this that'll come to mind for you, whether you're in health or another mission area. It's a funder that operates on a pretty consistent timeline, a little bit of variation for when it might open or when it might close. They're not quite as predictable as a group that says we always close our deadline on October 1st or June 1st. A little bit of variability, but we know that generally in the spring, it will open their LOI process. So what could you do for pre-planning? Well, their questions are potentially going to change from one year to the next. Their budget form may change from one year to the next. Their guidelines might have some tweaks from one year to the next, but who they are and the purpose of their funding, pretty well established at this point, although it's still a young foundation. And while there will be some nuances and some potential small changes in their priorities or their forms, big picture, we know what they care about. We know that they're going to have an LOI process that will require some form of budgeting. And we know that what we're hoping to do is get into that full proposal round. We want to get that invitation. So why wait until the letter of inquiry process opens to start having conversations with your colleagues about what your focus might be, about what might be the most competitive application you could put forward? Exactly. Why wait? So the idea of pre-planning in the foundation space is to look at what are the knowns for the grant maker you're interested in. And while there will be some anticipated variation in their questions and budget forms, what can we start to lay out? What can we agree on as a team would be our goal? Maybe we can start to think about some smart objectives, talk about maybe partners or not, some broad strokes of budgeting. It's the same idea as our foundation or as our federal pre-planning, but we're going to apply it this time to foundation. If you have any questions, though, about this idea of pre-planning and how to apply it to your work, hit us up in the comments below. We're happy to answer. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our tips or tricks. And don't forget, we've got all those free resources at dhleonardconsulting.com to help you with your work.